Hello friends, how are you? I hope you are well. We are into our second week of our online yoga and I've got my friend here, Blue, helping me today. Hello. And what we are going to do today is we're into our 6th week of our Women of Worth series. I mentioned last time that we will be looking at Mary and Martha for 3 weeks because they have 3 really significant encounters with Jesus in the New Testament. So we're going to look at those in order. Last week we did the one from Luke, and if you haven't watched that one yet, that's cool. You can always go back. It's available for you to watch whenever, but you don't need to have watched it to understand this one. So you'll fully get it even if you're starting here day 1, which if you are, welcome. So today we are doing a really lovely practice, and it is a yin practice. So if you've been coming to my yoga classes for quite a long time, you might have done a yin practice with me before. If not, a yin practice is more about targeting deep connective tissues. So like your fascia, your ligaments, joints and bones. It's slower, more meditative, giving you space to turn inward and tune into both your mind and into the physical sensations of your body. So we'll do just a few poses today, but we'll hold them for longer than we usually would in our regular practice. So with this, I always recommend, in any yoga, to be listening to your body and making sure to, if something's feeling not right, to take it off. And this is really important when we're holding these stretches for long periods of time. We need to make sure that we are listening to our body, and we don't want to do any damage. So if you are feeling something's not quite right, take a step back, ease off a bit. With this, when we're holding poses for quite a while, you don't want to be pressing or pushing into the full extension of the pose. You want to find a place where you can hold it and hold it comfortably. It will increase your flexibility. So the longer you hold it, you'll probably find you're moving deeper into it, or it might get more of an intense stretch and you need to constantly be listening to your body, or maybe it becomes slightly easier over time. Just be listening to your body. That is my number 1 rule for you, and I'm not with you, so I can't help correct or peek over to see how you're going. So really be listening to your body. You might like to gather a couple of things to help this practice be really lovely and comfortable. I've got some really cozy socks on, and I've got a warm jumper on today to keep me nice and comfy. You could also gather a pillow or maybe a blanket today. You can use the blanket to keep you warm or to use as a prop, and I'll let you know how you can do that. You might also like to gather a block if you've got some yoga blocks. I've got a foam one or a cork one, whatever you have. If you don't have yoga blocks, maybe you grab some books that you can stack up and just have them with you. You might not need to use them, and if you don't have any of those things, you can still do this practice in full. You're not missing out on anything. It just can help when we're in yin, when we're folding or resting in a position, to have that prop to just help us stay there for a little bit longer, or to help us be really, really comfortable. So with all of that, if you need to go and grab stuff, pause now, go grab it, come back. Once you've got all of that stuff, we're going to come and lay down on our backs. So you might like to today come all the way down flat onto your back. You might like to bend your knees and have those feet flat on the ground. Up to you. Today I'm going to choose to keep my knees bent and really find that restorative back today. You might like to place either your blanket folded up or your pillow underneath your head. Just finding a really comfy practice today. Settling in, turning our attention to our breath. Deepening the breath, breathing through the nose. You might like to bring your hands to your tummy and just have that more conscious physical breath happening, really feeling the breath come all the way deep down into your belly. Beautiful. As always in this series, I will share the story for today, and then we'll spend some time reflecting on it, and that will be even more true today as we do yin. I'll explain later, but there'll be lots of time to reflect on the story today. So take careful note. So our story today comes from John chapter 11, verses 19 to 27 is the main part of the story, but it continues before and after in chapter 11. So our story begins with a man called Lazarus, and he is extremely ill. Now Lazarus was Mary and Martha's brother. Jesus was told that Lazarus was really, really unwell. And Mary and Martha wanted Jesus to come and heal their brother as they'd seen Jesus heal before. But Jesus decided not to go yet. 2 days later, Jesus was told that Lazarus had died. Although Jesus told his disciples that Lazarus was just asleep. When Jesus finally arrived, he learned that Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. As soon as Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him. But Mary remained seated in the house. When Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you were here, my brother wouldn't have died. Yet even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you." Martha has a moment of doubt and then pulls herself back to Jesus. "Your brother will rise again," Jesus told her. Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the day of resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me, even if he dies, will live. Everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" Big words from Jesus. Martha replies to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe you are the Messiah, the Son of God who comes into the world." Jesus went to the tomb to mourn Lazarus. He wept there. He was sad about Lazarus, but he was sadder about the lack of faith of the people around him. So Jesus showed them, all of them, the power of God, that God's power is stronger than the power of death. Mary and Martha still struggled to believe that Jesus wasn't too late in saving their brother. And Martha says, "Lord, there is already a stench because he has been dead for 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" Jesus raised his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you heard me. I know that you always hear me, but because of the crowd standing here, I said this, so that they may believe you sent me." After he said this, he shouted with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, bound hand and foot with linen strips, and his face wrapped in cloth, the burial clothes of that time. Jesus said to them, "Unwrap him and let him go." It's a pretty crazy part of the Bible. Raising people from the dead, we don't really see that happen. And I wonder what stood out to you in this story. What is something from the story that you can hold on to as we practice throughout the rest of the day? It might be to stretch your faith. Do you believe that God's power is greater than death? Maybe if you're not Christian, or you're not sure about how this crazy raising people from the dead stuff could happen, maybe it's a reminder to open your mind. We are often more capable than we give ourselves credit, and we hold ourselves back by not believing in ourselves. Or maybe we hold other people back, not being open to what others tell us. Maybe you're feeling a bit closed-minded to this story, and that's okay. It's a pretty intense one, but maybe this is a reminder to just open your mind a little bit. What if you're having doubts about this, what if it is true? Even if you are struggling with the story today, and that is okay, we have lots of time to mull it over in our yin practice. So what's going to happen, in a couple of seconds, we're going to move into a position, and I'll instruct you how to get there. Then we will hold the position for between 2 to 5 minutes. During the holding time, this is time for you to let your mind go blank, maybe think about the story. If you aren't sure about the story, reminding yourself to open up your mind, maybe take bits from the story that you can grapple with. Or maybe if this story has really spoken truth to you today, maybe thanking God for that and grappling with that truth, encouraging yourself to open up your mind and increase your faith. Maybe you spend time just listening to God and what He has to say to you. Or maybe there's something that's really heavy on your heart today, and you spend this time praying through that thing. Beautiful. So when you are ready, we are going to start to get up. So if you have bent knees, you might like to unfold them nice and slowly. We're going to move with gentleness. Every time we move from pose to pose, moving with slow pace and gentleness. So you might wiggle the fingers and toes to start to wake up the body, the wrists and the ankles. And we're getting ready to get up onto our knees. So you might like to roll onto one side, maybe moving your blanket or your pillow out of the way. And you're welcome to use your blanket or your pillow whenever you'd like. Maybe you put your blanket over you if you're feeling a bit cold. That's cool. We're going to start in child's pose today. So on our knees, you are welcome to either have them together or our knees wide, but keeping those toes together. Up to you. And you're welcome to change halfway, but I encourage you with yin to pick your position and try and stay there, okay? You don't have to worry about watching the clock. I've got that for you. So no worries, I will set a timer. So what we're going to do, getting into child's pose, you're welcome to make your own way. Maybe you have stretched out arms, relaxing the head on the floor. Maybe you sweep the hands behind you, making that really small ball. Maybe you grab one of your blocks or your books. I like a foam block for this, or even a pillow works. And you might like to rest your head on that. This might be a bit high, but finding whatever works for you. If you're finding reaching your head to the floor is a bit too much, or yeah, just playing around, finding the position that kind of works for you in this pose. Yeah, just stretching down. You might not need any props, and that is totally cool. Settling into that position, and I'm not going to really talk during this time. As I said, it's time that you can find stillness, maybe wrestle with the scripture that we listened to, maybe spending the time talking to God and listening to what He has to say to you. And we're going to spend just a couple of minutes here. We're going to start to move. So I encourage you to move with real slowness. So if you've got your arms out in front of you, you might like to walk your body back up, just moving really slowly. Your head has been down on the ground, so just give the blood a moment to rush back. Making sure that you're breathing in all of the poses. Even when we're holding poses, it's actually more important to be breathing through that. Your legs might be feeling a little bit strange sitting on them for this long, so we're going to get moving. We're moving into a low lunge sort of pose now. With this one, I'm bringing my left leg forward first, and keeping my right leg on the ground. Our hips, you want to keep them facing the front edge of the mat. We don't want to be turning out here. And because we've already been on our knees, you're welcome to grab a blanket or even just fold over your mat to give a little extra comfort on those knees. Always welcome to take that option. Now, lots of options with the hands here. You can bring the hands either side. Maybe you wiggle that foot out and bring both hands on the inside. Maybe you take your blocks or books and maybe you use them. If you're finding touching the ground is a bit too far, you can always use blocks or books to elevate it. So if you've got blocks, the wonderful thing is you can have all the different heights. So there's up this way, that way, or flat, or on the ground. You've got whatever serves you best. And again, you can use the block if you've got both hands on the inside rather than one on each side. Taking it however serves you best today. Whichever option works best for you. Making sure that you're breathing deep. We're going to hold this position again. I've got the time so you don't have to. Breathing deep. You might like to close your eyes if you find that helps. Beautiful. All right, we're going to make our way out of this one slowly. So sending the hips back, we're taking the pressure out of that front leg, kind of walking our way back. We're going to come back to kneeling on both knees, kind of a tabletop position here, getting ready for the other side. So bringing the other leg forward. This one's my right leg. And again, take whatever padding you need, grab blocks if that helps. I encourage to try and do the same thing that you did on the other side, but our flexibility on both legs might not be the same, so that's okay. I encourage you to try to get to the same point, but we very often have very different flexibility levels in both legs, so that's cool. Listen to your body, take it how it needs it. Breathing deep through these poses, and again, I've got the time so that you don't have to. Let's go. Wonderful. We're going to start to come out of this one. So start to walk those hands back, sending the weight back into that back knee and bringing that front knee back to meet the other, coming to a tabletop position. You might like to cat-cow it out, finding a little bit of movement here. Beautiful. All right. We're going to come into a garland pose now. This can be quite an intense stretch, so this is another one that you might like to use props for. So I'll do this one facing the camera for you so that you've got it. We're bringing our legs to a really lovely wide squat, and we're sending those hips as low as they go. So we're trying to get those heels on the ground. They might not reach, and that's totally okay. You might feel that this is too intense of a pose to hold, and this is where our props can come in again. You're welcome to bring a prop and sit on it. Maybe use a stack of books or a block if you've got a yoga block. And again, the wonderful thing with these is you can stack them however high you need. Just finding a version of this that you can sustain. So I might go with one block today. And I like to have, you're welcome to bring your hands to the floor for stability. I like to have my hands in prayer pose or heart center, and use those elbows kind of driving the legs out. Just helps me find the stretch a little bit more. If that works for you, figuring out where you need to be for this pose, and then settling into a spot for it. So this is one that people can overextend themselves in, and I encourage you to make sure you're not pushing too hard, yeah? So making sure that you are not going too far past a point where you find it painful or uncomfortable, okay? So finding that beautiful, meeting your edge, finding your appropriate edge and meeting it. Let's sit here for a couple of minutes, trying to find some stillness. Maybe you close your eyes. Maybe you reflect on the story, breathing deep, taking this time. All right, friends, releasing the hands. We're going to bring them to the ground, and then we're going to send our hips high to the sky, moving very, very slowly, stretching out those legs, bringing them in, little heel toe, to come together. And we're going to find a forward fold here, keeping a really, really, really generous bend in the knees. I'm going to tuck in my shirt. You might find you need to too. Finding really generous bend in the knees. Now, this is our ragdoll pose. I've got two options for you today. So this is going to be one of our yin poses, and as we stretch this, we're going to find a real stretching and lengthening through our hamstrings, and also a relaxing of our back and shoulders down. Now, you can have your hands holding your elbows, releasing that head. Maybe you just dangle the arms. Although, if you get headaches or have problems with insomnia, I encourage you to follow me. If you don't, I do encourage you to keep standing. This is a really, really great pose, and it encourages circulation. But for people like me who suffer from migraines, and if you suffer from insomnia, being upside down for a long amount of time isn't actually a great thing for you if you suffer from those things. So if you do suffer from those things, we're going to come onto our bottom. If not, I encourage you to stay in that forward fold. Or you can try out this too. We're just going to fold forward here. If you are coming down to your bottom, so just finding sitting up right up high on those sit bones, and then finding a fold. You might like to grab a pillow and fold into it, or maybe the same with a block or a book, whatever works for you. And just allowing yourself to flop down. This means that we still get that really lovely stretch and lengthening through our hamstrings, but we need to focus on relaxing the head and neck down rather than gravity doing that for us. So up to you how you take it. Again, I'm keeping my eye on the time. This one's not quite as long as our other ones, so let's go. Alright, if you are on your bottom, walk those hands up your legs to sit up tall. If you are standing and have been in forward fold, we're going to bend the knees slowly, send the bottom towards the earth. Our head will now be back at the top, legs at the bottom. Take a moment, if you feel the blood rushing back, or just take a moment to feel that sensation. Quite an intense one. We're moving down to our back again, so moving there with control and softness. You might like to find that pillow back on your head, or maybe you just lay flat on the ground. Both are very welcome. We're going to find a twist here now, and this one is my favorite pose. In yin, it's not super intense. It's just one that's going to really help us open up all through our spine, which is where I hold a lot of tension. So what we're going to do is picking up one leg, I'm using my left leg, and hugging it into the chest. Now what we're going to do is bringing the leg that you're holding, my left, up over the right, allowing the foot to come to the ground. Again, you might like to use a block or a pillow or some books to help out there. I like it on the floor, and I like to have my other hand just helping out there. My left hand is reaching out to the other side, so it's laying flat on the floor, and you might like to allow that head to twist over towards that opposite arm. So my right hand is on helping out that left knee, left hand is reaching out to the other side, and if you want to continue the twist, my head is looking over to that left hand. Holding that position, I've got the time so that you don't have to. All right, friends, we're bringing that head back to center. Left arm comes back, helping that left leg back over, hugging it in one more time and then letting it go down to the ground. We're finding our other side now. So my right leg is coming up, hugging it in, and then we're folding it up and over the other leg, helping it with that opposite hand. So right knee, we've got left hand helping it. My right arm is coming out long. My head is following that right arm. That's an extension of the pose. You don't have to follow it with the head. You can keep the head in neutral. And again, we're holding, finding that deep twist. Wonderful. All right, we're going to bring that arm and the head back to center, helping that right leg back, hugging it into the chest, and then releasing the leg to the ground. If you're finding that you need just a little extra movement before we settle in for our final resting pose, you're welcome to bring both legs up into our, this is actually called wind release pose, but I like to call it hugging knees into the chest. It's a bit nicer. And you might like to rock side to side, just massaging the back on the ground. And we're coming to our final pose, relaxing the legs down. You're welcome to have them bent, or if you prefer to sit for our final pose, that's cool too. We are going to relax down. We, as always, we usually just take some stillness before we finish. We've been doing that all the whole session, so just one final hold today, laying flat on our backs, relaxing down. If you found it tricky to hold on to anything from the story, this is our last kind of hold for the day. Maybe if you've been distracted, this is the time to focus in, take that last little bit of our practice, take it now. We're going to get ready to move now. Before you do, just taking note of how you're feeling, maybe taking a quick body check from toes, feet, ankles, all the way up to our heads. Maybe taking note of what your body needs moving off your mat, so that we can respect our bodies and give them the love and everything that they need. All right, when you're ready, we're going to start to wiggle the fingers and the toes to wake up the smallest parts of the body first, and then the wrists and the ankles moving up. Taking your own time, moving up, waking up the body. I like to roll onto my side and spend a moment here before I get up. This pose always reminds me that no matter what I've done or where I've been or how I feel, that there's always second chances with God, that because of what Jesus did for us on the cross, that he died for us, and he rose again. That means we are saved from anything that we do, and there's always second chances to start fresh. Such a good reminder. All right, we're gonna start to get up, pressing ourselves up. Ugh, messy hair, you know you've done some good yoga when you've got messy hair. And we're going to sit up into our Sukhasana, or our seated pose. And we're going to pray a blessing. I do this in every class at the end, and you're welcome to join me in it. I like to use movement to help physicalize the prayer. I don't think that's a word. I'm sure there is a word for that. But you're welcome to join me in that. Or you can just sit and listen, receive the blessing. Let's pray. So I bring my thumbs to my head. And God, I pray that you would bless our minds. I pray you would open them to receive what you want us to receive, and that our faith would increase. I bring my thumbs to my lips. And God, I pray that you would bless our lips and the words that come out of them. I pray our lips would reflect our open minds, and that our words would be encouraging to others, being open to what other people have to say, and making space for encouragement and love. I bring my thumbs to my heart and pray a blessing over our bodies, God. I pray that you would bless every part of our bodies, that this time reflecting on your word and listening to you speak and looking after our bodies, that it would be pleasing to you, Lord. Amen, and God bless. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Move really gently and slowly as you get up. You've spent lots of time in stillness and quite intense stretches, so make sure to drink lots of water and move slowly. God bless you all. I hope to see you soon. Thanks for practicing with me online. Bye.